I had wanted, for a long time to work with Tom Cruise. We had a couple of abortive attempts at working together over the years, but I've known Tom for many, many years, and I've sometimes suggested a project for Tom to do that probably wasn't his exact cup of tea, and a couple of times he's brought things to me.
I remember seeing Jaws, and I'm telling you, when that head came through, the boat underwater, I leapt. I was, over 3 people. I was standing in the aisle, and I saw E.T. with my family. Actually, we were in Jersey. Called my family, said, you got to see this movie. This is going to be, something you're never going to forget. So I want it to be a family experience. And he's given us so many moments, and in my life, so many moments of real cinema joy that, now you sit across from this guy, and he's really an amazing guy, amazing artist, and also an amazing person. And so, yeah, I wanted to work with him. I think everyone wants to work with Steven, but I had this opportunity, and something that I really relished and cherished every moment that we're doing it. And you see why he is who he is, and how he deserves all the credit that he gets, and I think even more.
He brought me Minority Report about 3 years ago.
I read the script, sent it over to him, because I started seeing a lot of great things in this film. It's always difficult when you're looking for a film, finding a unique way to tell a story. I love science fiction. I'm home. And I thought it was great. I thought it was really fascinating. So sent it over to Steven.
And I remember reading the script and liking the idea of the film, especially for Tom.
And he got excited about it, and there we went.
I think what happened was we got into that old development situation where we developed, from the Philip K. Dick original story.
The great thing about Philip Dick is his unconnectedness to the world. He never felt that he was a part of the same world that you and I are a part of. And this has to do with a lot of reasons. He came from a troubled background. He had actual physical problems. He had psychological problems. There's a great lore of Philip Dick's troubled history. And in my personal connection to him, and what sort of drew me into this story, or into Philip K. Dick's life and vision, is he's uncertain of the world, he's paranoid about the world, which reel is real, and so forth. And one of the themes of Minority Report, the short story, is about seeing, looking into the future. And for me, that was the great insight into how to shape the story into a script. In the story, there's not a lot of world to work with. He doesn't have a lot of gadgets. He doesn't really tell you what his themes are. You don't have a real sense of what the future world looks like. But as soon as I began thinking about the precognitives, I found my theme for the way that I wanted to go at the story, which was sight. Eyes. What do you see? What does the hero see? What do the precogs see?
As a writer, I'm very much influenced by those films of the 70s and the 60s, the thrillers that we were doing, because we used to make genre movies for grown-ups. And we don't do that so much anymore. Thrillers are now usually just sort of action movies, and again, they're more conceptual and just sort of not about character. They're people more with attitudes than they are real characters. And we really tried to make a conscious effort to have the people be in this as much as we could, be as real as they could be.
I was coming in and out because I was busy making other movies at the time. And eventually, I read a script that I liked enough to call Tom and say, yeah, I'll do this version with you.
All right, Howard Marks, where are you?
The opening of the film is sort of in an old Georgetown setting, and bit by bit you see these little specks, and then boom, you're inside the temple, and you're like, okay, totally different world.
It's okay. This is Danny.
But the film's based in Washington, D.C., and they're doing sort of this test case. Pre-crime is of having these 3 psychic beings predict murders that are about to happen, give you the name of the murderer, the name of the person that they're going to kill.
I think all of us would love to know what's just around the corner. We'd all love to know what's going to happen next in the world, in our lives. And it's just kind of a need to know about the unknowable. And I think this story flirts with what if we had the chance to know certain things about the future, especially things that come under the heading of life and death.
Where's my minority report?
Minority report simply means if 3 precogs agree that someone is guilty and will commit that crime in the future, then that crime will occur. But if one of the precogs dissents and casts a dissenting vote, then it can't be a perfect system, and there must be something wrong with it.
Chad, you getting this? It's a single stream from the female only with no time or incident data. Whatever this is, it isn't the future.
And it's something so wrong that the system would not be allowed to exist in our nation.
You can't do a movie like this without at least acknowledging what the debate would be around it.
You under arrest for the future murder of Sarah Marks and Donald Dubin that was to take place today, April 22nd. It's 0800 hours, 4 minutes. No, they didn't do anything.
Once you come and arrest me and tell me that tomorrow at 3 o'clock I'm going to kill someone, I haven't done it yet. So am I truly a murderer yet? Just because I've thought of it, does that mean I'm going to actually do it?
We are arresting individuals who have broken no law.
But they will. The commission of the crime itself is absolute metaphysics. The precogs see the future, and they're never wrong.
But it's not the
The explanation of why it works is that the precogs are never wrong, period. And Anderton takes one of the spheres that the perp's names are engraved on, and he tosses it across the table, and our sort of competitor to Anderton's character, named Danny Whitwer, catches the ball before it hits the ground.
You caught it. The fact that you prevented it from happening doesn't change the fact that it was going to happen.
Well, that's exactly why we know pre-crime works.
If there was a system in place that was infallible, that was basically blessed by the Supreme Court of the United States and voted on in a national referendum by the people of this country, that allows you to, change the Bill of Rights to simply stop a murder from happening. And if there was never a flaw in the system, I would be in favor of that.
After all, who wants a justice system that instills doubt? It may be reasonable, but it's still doubt.
Although it does save a lot of lives, there is that question as well, what about the 0.002% that possibly would have changed their mind, could have changed their mind?
None of us would ever want to see that happen and change the rights that we have fought and died for in this country.
But what about those people that I put away with alternate futures? My God, if the country knew there was a chance.
The system would collapse.
It's a little frightening in some ways to think that it could become a reality, to even think that there might be a so-called thought police that feels that they're putting themselves in a position to second guess what people might be doing.
Positive for Howard Marks.
But I look at it as an A thriller. When I think about Hitchcock thrillers, I think about some of the great thrillers of yesterday. This is right up there with the best of them.
Goodbye, Colin.
Wait!
The best science fiction is based sort of on the fact or even on future facts, and then the imagination gets to springboard from the sort of the facts of the past, the facts of the present, and the facts of the future. And so based on that, I think there's some credibility to the story that we're trying to tell here.
Someone intends to kill his boss or his wife, but they never go through with it. How do the precogs tell the difference?
Precogs have to see what you intend to do, only what you will do.